Hello and welcome to the SMS News channel, where I just talk about the latest trends, whether it be my life or something new. You'll get to see it. Before I get started on today's topics, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. To anybody that's new to the channel, welcome. I am on my way to the store, but I got a few things I wanted to talk to you guys about, just to pick your brain to see if you agree with what I agree with, or if you just wanted to talk about stuff. And hey, if there is a topic in particular, I'm driving, sorry. If there's a topic in particular that you want me to touch on, just put it down in the comments and I'll be happy to talk about it. So as for today, just a recent update. I moved. I got my first place in my name. Yay. I'm extremely excited. Things have been going well. I got accepted back into college again, so I'm going to be studying to get my bachelor's degree. So I'm excited about that, in the process of also working and stuff. So I might have to cut a few hours, but that's okay. I never really thought about making it a career on YouTube, to make like videos every day, because I'm so busy, but I can do videos here and there, but we'll figure it out. But today's topic, I'm just going to touch up on a few things. First of all, I'm going to talk about the recent update with my channel, a few things that I noticed on Instagram, and some things that I think we need to talk about concerning these artists. So I'm gonna tell you about this. A quick update that happened. So I finally talked to whoever was on YouTube, was so gracious enough to retrieve all of my Braxton Family Value videos that episodes that I bought prior to 2020. And I told them, I said, it's not fair that I have to repay for all of these if I've already paid for it. So they restored them, so I was happy about that. Another thing, well, I noticed one thing, and one thing in particular. Get my sunglasses on. It's getting a little hot today. Social media is getting kind of crazy. I don't know about y'all. I probably talked about it in the last episode. It's getting kind of stupid. But it baffles me, because I'll be on social media, whether it be Snapchat, Instagram, what they call X, which used to be Twitter, or Facebook. People will say the most obnoxious things, but if you say a joke, or if you're just making like a reference to something and you're just using the abbreviation and blurring out the words, they'll completely block your comment. But I noticed recently, like on Snapchat, somebody was saying something about somebody's country being dirty, and I'm like, so you guys can talk about people's countries and stuff like that and be degrading, and that doesn't get brought up. Then when somebody reported it, it's like, oh, well, we don't find any issues. But there'll be a video or a reel about a couple of black kids that are doing something crazy, and then there'll be somebody in the comments talking about typical behavior. Why are y'all making statements about people you don't even know, and the video's not even lasting that long? First of all, you don't even know if the validity of that reel is even a realistic one. So why even make statements about folks that you don't even know? It's probably just for entertainment purposes anyway. So I got onto Instagram, and there was a post, I think it was on the Whitney Houston fan page. And it's not like her official page, because I think that's run by her sister-in-law, Pat Houston, who's the CEO of that and Nippy Inc. and stuff like that, and all her businesses after she passed away. But I saw on there that they're gonna have a symphony for her, and I'm just wondering if anybody's gonna go to a concert without Whitney Houston just singing her songs in a classical setting. I don't know. to me, I think it's kind of, I mean, if you want to call it a money grab, you can call it a money grab, but at the end of the day, it's like, at this point, just sell merch, because I don't think anybody's going to spend like $40 or $50 in tickets just to see somebody who's deceased. And as much as I love Whitney, God knows I love Whitney. She's like one of my favorites outside of, you know, MJ, Nicki Minaj and Beyonce and all the other people. I just don't think if they were to pass away that you can still kind of like, you see what I'm saying? Like still try to make money off of the music. And it's just, you know what it is. But would y'all go? I mean, if you will, if you don't, comment down below and we could talk about it. But recently there was a post that was on Instagram. It's a little bit older, and it was just talking about the celebrities that do things that are tasteless. You know what I'm saying? So it had a video of Mariah Carey in a two-piece. It just looked like a bralette, and some Spanx that looked like underwear. And it had Mariah, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Rihanna, and Madonna, and they were, and Ariana Grande, and it had them all dressed provocative and acting a certain way. And don't get me wrong, like that's kind of like what they do, but the point is they were making a statement about how all the other artists act tasteless. But when it comes down to Whitney Houston, she keeps it classy, and she didn't have to like show any body or any part of her body inappropriately. And I just want to say this, because I don't know if I can agree with some of it, but I wouldn't say the other artists are tasteless, but that's what basically was said on Instagram. So I just made a comment. I just said, you know, Whitney Houston had sexy performances, and she didn't have to do anything, and didn't have to do a whole lot to get her audience to be excited. With her voice alone, people just went in awe about her, and she had her clothes on, and she was still classy. You know what I'm saying? She had her moments, and that's all. I left it all at that. So then people wanted to compare Whitney and Mariah, and I was like, this is really not about comparing them like that. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about two different vocal artists from different genres. Like Whitney came out in the early in the 80s, and then into the 90s. Mariah was already like doing stuff, but she wasn't in, like, I guess she was a backup singer like in 86, and then got signed in the 90s or whatever. However they do it, I have to do my research, but I don't want to. The point is, people were just saying a whole lot of crazy stuff that I thought was stupid. Like, people were just like, oh, you know, the nice stuff that they were saying. Oh, like, Whitney was a class act, and she was very classy. She wasn't, like, bum rushing like all the other artists. These are just what the comments are saying. And then one person was like, yeah, but she acted a darn fool off after the performance. We don't know. We can only see what she said in a Don Sawyer interview. Like in the 2002 Don Sawyer, she said, this Don Sawyer interview, she said that she was fired. She had to do an Academy Award or something like that in the early 2000s. It was like 2000, and she got fired because she was acting erratic or whatever. But that's from her words. I'm not going to twist her words. You know what I'm saying? And then here comes more people talking about, well, she was suffering from, you know, using and alcoholism and drug use and all this other stuff. Like, if we're just talking about a post about their performance, what does their background story have to do with anything? And I just feel like it's stupid, because every time when we get on social media, that's the first thing they want to talk about when it comes down to Whitney Houston. They don't ever do that with Mariah. They don't ever do that with Beyonce. They don't ever do that with Nicki Minaj and any of them. And some of them have done stuff, and this is not to put them down, this is just to make a point. a lot of them, of the artists that were in this caption, have done stuff that has been kind of questionable, but nobody said anything. Like, if we're going to talk about Nicki Minaj, and I love Nicki Minaj, but nobody was going to talk about how the fact that her fans vandalized somebody's gravesite. But we're talking about a woman that's been passed away 13 years ago, about her usage of drugs and alcohol. Stupid. It just didn't make any sense. We're not going to even talk about how so many people have accused Beyonce of stuff. Like, it's just crazy. It's bananas. But nobody says anything about it. Like, people have called her a witch, done witchcraft on people's pets and stuff like that. Nobody said anything about that. But if it's Whitney, we're talking about all her drug use and her abusive marriage with Bobby, which if people would stop talking about them like that, like, they got divorced in 2007. Like, if it's about right, 2006, 2007. And the only person that could probably speak on that is Viola Brown. Leola, I'm sorry, not Viola. I'm sorry, I said her name wrong. Leola Brown. And I've been on Leola's page, The Absolute Truth, and she's been keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like if people are going to do stories, let the family talk about them. We don't know because we weren't there. But I personally think it was tasteless. If I'm going to be a fan of Nicki Minaj, I'm not going to sit there and vandalize somebody's headstone just because I don't like the other artist. Because I don't know, I guess she was beefing with, they allegedly said that she was beefing with, what is her name? Megan Thee Stallion, over something, and then she did a rap about her being Bigfoot or something like that. Which, I mean, you know, I don't know the situation. I don't know. A lot of people do a lot of controversial stuff just to promote their album. Because, like, if we want to really take it all the way back, Brandy and Monica did stuff like that to promote music and stuff. But to the point where you got fans that are doing stuff to somebody's headstone, like, these were barbs that went to her mother's headstone and started doing stuff to it. And this is not the first time they did that. And then they want to say that, well, this has nothing to do with Nicki Minaj. But if you're going to be a representation of Nicki Minaj, don't you think you should represent her better? She calls herself the queen of rap, and she's a good performer and a good artist and sold more than a lot of people. Then why are you, as barbs, misrepresenting your so-called queen? And I'm not going to call her a so-called queen, because if she's a queen, she's a queen. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to be fans of hers, don't you think you need to be respectful? She's giving you advice to go back to school and do all that stuff, and then you do that? And then we're not even going to talk about how when with Ariana Grande, people talk about her relationship statuses all the time, how she goes from one man to another man, but don't say anything about it. But when it comes down to Whitney Houston, it's always about her addictions and stuff. Like, let's be for real. If we're going to talk about people on this page, talk about all of it. Don't just exclude one because you feel like you don't. And then on top of that, this is a fan page. So if you don't agree with the fans of Whitney Houston, just don't be on her page. And we're not even going to talk about the stuff Madonna's done. I mean, shoot. But that's just that part, you know. People, and that's not, and like I said, this is not a post and this is not a video to bash any of the ladies. I'm just trying to make a comparison. When any of the other ladies, and there was Taylor Swift on that page too, when any other ladies say some stuff or do anything, they don't get ridiculed. But the other artists that used to be like in R&B or pop or everything, we destroy them. Like when the whole situation that happened with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, they tore her to shreds over something that she didn't even do. That wasn't even her fault. He just did way too much, and she had to pay a fine for it. They talk about those things. And I don't know how much the truth about, you know, Michael Jackson and those, you know, alleged, you know, AS statements and stuff like that were, but they wore him to shreds for that too. But yet and still, we ain't talking about how all these other people have been getting away with stuff. You know what I'm saying? We came down to R. Kelly and Diddy. Y'all been knowing this stuff since the 90s, didn't say nothing. But you wasn't gonna let Michael live it down with the Never Never Land. You wasn't gonna let who else let it down, whatever Diana Ross was doing. But you know how you see how people pick and choose who can get away with stuff and who can't. And now we have a situation where Breezy, and I hope he's doing good, but he got arrested for now they're saying that he got arrested in another country because he allegedly attacked somebody. Now who knows? It could be false. They could be making it up. But all we know is that he's in jail. No one talks about those things though. You see what I'm saying? They talk about everything else but that. The whole Shannon Sharpe situation is messed up. Like, you literally messed up your whole job and your whole Club Shay Shay for some ladies, and now you have to like come up with the money to like pay them for damages and stuff, and it's crazy. Wow, this came off. But yeah, I just think it's crazy. You just have to be careful, you guys. You know, life happens. You have to be careful about stuff that happens though. I think it's kind of weird that they're still playing stuff even with Angie Stone. She passed away in March of this year, and they're still playing stuff that, and she's not even alive, but they still keep playing her stuff over and over about stuff that she's selling and stuff. You can still sell her merch, but I think at this point, just use what you have. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to get on here and talk about a few things. And what are your thoughts? Do you think it's fair that people can say inappropriate things on the internet and not get their page in violation for it? Do you think it's fair that if you make a post and you're just making a comment and you're just joking about it, they flag your post, but they won't flag stuff that's severely racist? Do you also think that it's fair that people make double standards when it comes down to women in the industry that do things that are artists versus the guys? Comment down below, and I'll bring more information and more topics and stuff like that when I'm a little bit more and less busy, you know what I mean? So this has been SMS News Channel, and I will be back with more. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Welcome all new fans, and I'll be back with more. Until next time.